Hello everyone, welcome to another Voice Essentials live hangout. So good to be hanging out with you all today. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. It's so good to have you joining us. We do this every Monday. Well, it's my Monday here in Australia, Brisbane, Queensland. And it's something we do every week. So check your clock and double check your time currently, because whatever time it is right now, if you're watching it live, then this is the time we do it every week. And of course, if you are watching this as a playback, as a replay, then you are welcome as well. We love to have you. I love to interact with you in the comments section below, and I can always answer your questions after the fact. But of course, we answer many of your questions live here on the show. Now, before we get into today's topic, I do want to just draw your attention to, you might hear a lot of bangs and hits and whole heap of stuff going on here today. I'm having my gutters replaced here at the studio, and because it's no fun having water streaming into your house. And we are in the very middle here of Brisbane, Australia. We are in the very middle of our storm season, and so my gutters have needed doing for some time. So we're finally getting around to it. So I've got three guys out the front of the studio replacing gutters and everything, but they're on the roof, and so if you hear clunking and clinking, you'll know what it is. So look, we are going to be talking about pitch today, the importance that singing in tune plays in your overall performance. Of course, it is important, but it's important that we contextualize its importance, and we're going to be doing that today. Make sure you, in the comments section, in the live chat, let us know where you're from. Yuhui's already told us. She's always very good. Yuhui, you need to let me know. Are you a he or a she? I don't know. And I may have asked this before, Yuhui. Forgive me if I've forgotten. So it's 11 p.m. in Georgia currently, where Yuhui is, and it is 59 degrees Fahrenheit. I wonder how cold that is. Someone hit Google up and let me know what temperature that is in Celsius, because I'm not up with Fahrenheit, being we're here on the metric system and the Celsius system and all of that sort of stuff. Make sure you let us know where you're from. Let us know what the weather's like here in Brisbane. We've just been through a massive heat wave, and it was horrible. On Thursday last week, the apparent temperature was 39 degrees. It was atrocious, and we had the studio air conditioning was running overtime, and so it was good to get away. That heat wave is now finished. We're just sitting on your average 30 degrees, which in Brisbane, Australia, is relatively balmy, and for this time of year. So yeah, let us know where you're from and what the degrees is. And Dakota Sings is letting me know that I think 59 Fahrenheit is 15 degrees Celsius. Is that what you're saying there, Dakota? Thank you for jumping in. Warm spring-like weather. That's good. It's 8 p.m. in California. And Baron Unlimited, USA, California. Very good. Bomb-proof butter. I do like that handle. That's very good. Bomb-proof butter is in Cleveland. Do they make bomb-proof butter? I don't know. And would you want to eat it if they did? That's a question for all of us to contemplate for the next 30 or 40 minutes together, which is what we're going to be doing, spending that time together. Don't hesitate to start writing your questions, and as we get into today's live hangout, because as you know, we answer your questions as a part of the show later on in the show. I always love answering your questions. Again, if you are watching this on replay, then leave your questions in the comments section below, and I'll do my best to answer those as well after the fact. I know that not everyone here at the Voice Essentials channel can participate in the live hangout, but I do love it when you guys watch the show in replay, and then you can ask your questions. And here's a little tip. Besides the fact that you need to subscribe and hit the bell white icon to be notified by YouTube when I'm going live, besides that, if you hit Shift and the arrow key. So this key here, let me see if I can, if you hit that key there, that one there, with shift, so you've got to go that, whoop, that, shift and key. If you do that, it will it will put the replay, if you're watching this in replay, it will put it into fast forward, and so you don't have to sort of spend 40 minutes watching the video, you can spend 20 minutes and you get it all done. And I watch a lot of my YouTube live Hangouts in replay at double time, just so that I get through it quicker and I get to hear all the content that way. So there's a little bit of a hint as we get into today's show.
Sound check. Check 1, check 2.
So today we're talking about pitch. Now, before we get going, and many of you, for those of you who have been following my YouTube channel for some time, you know, I think already, how I feel about being captivated by accurate notes. I've said it many times and I'm going to say it again. Wait for it. Singing is not about perfect notes. Singing is about communication. It's about delivering the narrative to your audience. The moment you become fixated on pitch, the moment you're concerned about the accuracy of every little note, guess what your audience is going to focus on? You guessed it, the accuracy of every little note. You can't afford to do that. It's basically like waking up with a zit, you know, one morning, and so you spend the rest of the day picking at it, and it just makes it red, which draws everyone's attention to it, and suddenly, you know, because you're concerned about the zit, everyone else is concerned about the zit. And so that can be, you know, problematic. And I've just had a text come through. I want to make sure it's not from Linda. I don't think it is. No, it isn't. Okay, so it's actually delivery that's just been delivered. And so we don't want to draw people's attention to a zit per se, and we don't want to draw people's attention to bum notes, inaccurate notes. What we want to draw people's attention to is the narrative. Remember, good singing is about communication. Even if your singing is purely about entertainment, it's not necessarily about communicating any high philosophical ideal or political message. And it's just purely, you know, maybe it's something like Can't Get You Out of My Head by Australian singer, Can't Get You Out of My Head. Who's that singer? Kylie Minogue. You know, look, that is what I would refer to as candy pop. There is nothing deep and meaningful about that song, and so one could be mistaken for thinking, well, there is no narrative. No, the narrative is the entertainment value that song brings. But if you are constantly singing that song, worrying about, you know, getting every single note perfect, and we are talking about perfection here, then guess what everyone's going to be drawn to? The inaccuracy, your imperfect singing. That sounded funny, imperfect singing. Now, so that needs to be said again right from the get-go, because I am passionate about seeing you all develop the ability to sing the narrative, to focus in on the narrative, because guess what? When you focus on the narrative, what is your audience drawn to? The narrative. You're communicating something important. So that being said, I do acknowledge, because some people then make the mistake of thinking, well, Dr. Dan thinks that we're all allowed to just sing out of tune. No, that's not actually what I'm saying. What I'm saying is where our attention needs to be. So now let's talk about singing in pitch. I will draw your attention to the fact that if you see there's a little white icon just sitting up there is that your right or my left? I'm not sure. And if you click on that white icon, I have little eye icon. I have put a playlist in there taking you to video with practical exercises, a playlist with practical exercises about singing in tune. They will help you to develop it, because sometimes, actually let's talk about, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's first of all talk about the passive development of singing in tune. Because do you know what? For the most part, this is actually what I direct my singers to. I think my audio is running a bit hot. I'm just double checking that. I think for the most part, this is how I direct my students to developing their capacity for accuracy. So what do I mean by passive development of intonation? Well, when I start with a new student and we start doing exercises, even when I'm doing a 5-note scale, ya, 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 we are working on pitch. But we are doing it passively. Why? Because I never really talk about pitch. And in fact, when a student says to me, in the first number of lessons that we have together, when a student says, oh, I'm a bit pitchy, I go, don't worry about that for now. Let's focus on other things. Because in many respects, especially when we're first developing our voice, poor pitch, poor intonation, and I'll just explain one term. So pitch is when we sing one note, ya. Intonation, I've got, can you hear that? The dun, 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 right above me. Intonation is the movement of one pitch to the next pitch accurately. And that's actually where most people fall down. Most people can sing one single pitch accurately. It's when I get them to move from one note to the next note, to the next note, to the next note, that's when we run into intonation issues. And of course, a song is just one string of intonated notes, because it's, the notes are constantly moving. I don't know of a song that sings the whole song on one pitch. Nonetheless, so I am really, when we're starting out, developing pitch is really a poor intonation, I should say, is a symptom of other things that need to be focused on first. So when I am working with a singer, I am more concerned about this is in the first number of lessons, I'm more concerned about their alignment. I'm more concerned about their tongue root. I'm concerned about their jaw. I'm concerned about their laryngeal position. I'm concerned about vocal tract shape. What I'm not focused on is the exact length of their vocal folds that have the vocal folds oscillating at an exact amount of hertz to give me a certain pitch. So it is important that we develop our voice and that we cover a whole range of aspects of our singing, and that we actually develop our voice, as I said, passively. Yeah? That we're developing our voice, our pitch, passively. But that's all well and good, Dr. Dan, but what happens when I get past that point and I no longer want to be passive in my development of pitch? What happens when I want to be intentional about my pitch? What happens when, okay, I've been working on a whole range of areas in the development of my voice. I'm working on my alignment. I'm starting to get a good handle on my vocal tract shape, but yet I'm still not satisfied with my pitch accuracy, because we know that, yes, we do want to be able to communicate well, but we also, and we acknowledge that we also do want to be able to sing in tune, because despite the fact that, singing is about communication, there is an undercurrent of necessity for accurate pitch. And so we need to pay attention to that as well. And so I want to just offer a couple of things here that I think you'll find helpful. Now, the first that I want to show you is there's a program, and let me just make sure I bring it up so I can show you all. This program here, I've just got to get this right because otherwise it'll be a mess. This program here is a program that I've directed many students to over the years, and it's called Sing and See. So let me just bring this up. Now, this is on my website. I've put a link to it in the notes section below, the description section below of this video. And it's a program that I, in fact, use in the very first lesson with every student. And it's a pitch accuracy. Now, it is important that I let you know this is an affiliate link. Okay, so whilst I'm directing you to my website, if for those of you who may want to use this program and buy your own copy, it is important that I let you know that I do get a kickback from this, okay? But that being said, I've had this on my website for years. And what you've got to do is you click on this particular link here, and you write in the code Djarts, D-J-A-R-T-S, and it'll give you a 10% discount. So you actually don't buy it from me because you don't get the 10% discount. You're better to buy it direct from the manufacturer. And what that program does is it actually puts your pitch on screen. It actually gives us a view of your pitch. And it shows you with the lines, and I didn't have time to actually get it ready to show you guys it actually in work, but basically it gives you the visual representation. Now, where a program like this really comes into its own, let me just get back up here. Where a program like this really comes into its own, everyone, is for those of you who don't have access to a singing teacher who can give you that external feedback. It's really helpful for you to be able to see your voice on screen. You're getting that feedback for the accuracy of your pitch. And it's so helpful because it helps you to improve your pitch accuracy. It's telling you, okay, wow, I'm sharp there. I'm above the line of what, say I'm having to sing a C. I'm above that, so I need to adjust. And so you can play around with your pitch that way. You can, of course, also use, and I'll show you this program. I just want to show you before I've just got to, yep, I'm all good there. So, of course, you can use my exercise CD to drill notes. So, whilst many of the exercises are about workshopping your breath management and your belt and twang, you can also use the exercise CD to drill notes. For those of you who don't play the keyboard, you can be really workshopping those notes so that you don't spend time focused on body alignment and vocal tract shape and all those things. You just zero in on the pitch accuracy. Now, I do want to add, and hopefully you can still hear me over the banging. I do want to add that you've got to be very careful here, because if your technique has not got a certain level of foundation to it, you can actually create some significant, particularly tension issues, when your whole focus becomes singing in tune, because your ear may well know how to zone in and target that note, and that might be great. But what happens is we can go and get ourselves into all sorts of contortions to achieve that note. And what we want to be very careful of is that we are achieving accuracy of pitch with freedom of voice. And this is, again, where we kind of many times arrive at a point where there may well be the only way to achieve that is to spend time with another human being called a singing teacher who can help you to firstly develop body alignment, tension management, a whole range of great techniques that then facilitate the opportunity to focus on your pitch accuracy. So there you go. There's a couple of things for you to think about as you're developing your voice over the coming weeks and months. You know, think about it as being a passive thing that you want to develop. Think about it as being an intentional thing that you want to develop, your pitch. But also, don't let it become the be-all and end-all of your singing. I had a brand new student start with me last week, and I did have to give him a little bit of a slap over the wrist to say, do not focus on your notes. This is the first lesson. I want you focused on your body first. We'll get to the notes later. And I was able to say that to him because, do you know what? He was fine. The notes were all there. This young man's actually a really gifted singer anatomically, and we're just got starting on the journey of developing some technique around. In fact, he's come from another great teacher, and they've already done really good work with him. So we're just building upon that. But the point being is I don't want him focused on notes. Yeah, they're already there. And he's the sort of singer I don't think we'll spend a lot of time working on pitch, because, the moment you achieve perfection, it's lost. Perfection is such a fleeting moment. I would rather that he create a far more sustainable moment, and that is in the narrative, which brings us full circle. There was poetry in motion, wasn't it? Look, I hope that's helpful. Again, why don't you hit the thumbs up button if you found that helpful already? And I don't request this enough. If you think that today's video is going to be super helpful for those that you know in your singing community and your family, friends, take a moment to share it. You jump down to the bottom of the video and share it onto your social networks, and hopefully other people will get something out of it as well. Time for us to jump across to our Q&A because I love answering your questions to the best of my ability, and that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, I'm just double checking that I haven't doubled up. And where am I going here? So, I've outdone myself here. Let me go over here. I'm going to jump across to that one because I want to come back up here and have a look at some of your questions. Make sure this is the time to start asking. 5 a.m. in Austria. Awesome. Good to have you join us. Nice and early. What are you doing up at 5 a.m.? Crazy. It's 10 p.m. and windy in Texas. Fabulous. Dakota sings. Yeah, okay, thanks, Dakota. 15 degrees is 59 Fahrenheit. Awesome. 11 p.m. So what that is, 11, nearly half past 11 in New York. 6 degrees. Baron, where are you from? California. Here we go. Bree's got the winner so far. Hang on a second. No, Bree, this is negative 4 degrees. Hold the horses. Where are we coming down to here? Lois, negative 21. Lois, where are you from? Dearie me, negative 21 degrees. I've been watching I don't know if many of you have been watching the Olympics, and it looks quite chilly at the Olympics. We stayed up to watch an Australian ski the aerial freestyle last night. He got knocked out in very controversial circumstances. David Morris was his name. I'd stayed up because I was really hoping he'd do well, and he did do well, and us Aussies are proud of him, but unfortunately he got knocked out through some questionable judging, I thought, but anywho. And it looks cold over there in South Korea. Negative 4 degrees for Karen in Boston. Awesome. Karina is saying, hello, this is Karina and I have a breathy voice. I need some assistance. So I'm looking here at this question, everyone. I need some assistance to achieve chord closure. Hey, great question, Karina. If you jump across to the channel and go to the videos tab and look for the video called Closing the Phonatory Gap. There is a great exercise in there that will help you to close, to exercise a stronger, balanced closure of the vocal folds to help clean that up. The other exercise you might like to use is an NG, and just doing it, in fact, track 4, track 5 on my exercise CD, which is actually exercise 4, a twang activity, sing, will also help to appropriate the correct adduction of the vocal folds. So you might like to have a look at that, Karina. Sandesh, you're asking for a shout out for your channel. We don't really do shout outs here. Okay. People can always go and check out your channel, I guess. Hello, Karen. Nice to see you. Okay, Karina's saying that's good. Just scanning here, everyone. I'm typical male, and I find it, I've got to work harder. Wolfgang is from Austria as well, which is great. J Wolf, I'm going to say J Wolf because I'm not going to pronounce your first name correctly. Karen is suggesting that there are some free apps. Well, I would think that anything that you pay for, you would like to think that it's free. It also comes with some spectrogram analysis and those sorts of things too, Karen. So it's got a little bit more than just the pitch accuracy, but people can go and check that out in their own time. Okay, and Dakota sings it. I definitely assume so, but oh, okay, we're talking here. Yeah, okay. So when I started out, I'd plug a string on my guitar, match the pitch, and check the monitor to see if I had successfully matched it. Great. These are all really helpful tips for everyone. I hear you well, despite the construction site beside you. It's not beside me, Misko. It's actually above me and all around me. They're on my roof fixing the guttering. So, Caracas, always summer, 12:30 a.m. Wowzers. And Karen is double. Karen is awesome. She is watching the Olympics right now. Well, that's very cool. Do you know, here in Australia, we don't often get to watch Olympics and those sorts of things in our time zone. So for the first time in a long time, the Olympics is happening in our time zone, which is kind of nice for a change. We're not sort of catching up the next day. Okay. Shadjid, thanks, sir, for your lesson. I have a problem whenever I sing at high note. I feel sore throat, and so that may well be that because as you're leading into your high note, you're creating constriction, and that often, not always, often comes from too much air pressure forcing up and underneath the larynx. I hope my ceiling holds, and so you've got this hit of pressure underneath the larynx, and so the larynx will want to brace against that. Learning to sing with less pressure relieves the larynx of that responsibility to valve, which in turn then gives greater freedom for higher notes. That's not the only thing that'll be helpful, but certainly you might want to jump across to the channel and look for a playlist about stop strangling yourself. Go looking for that playlist specifically. Stop strangling yourself, and there'll be videos in that playlist that will be helpful to you. Okay, what's the best exercises for diction? Good question, Jay Wolf. It's you wanna one of the best exercises for diction that I do with my students often is what I refer to as the Lady Gaga exercises, where you go Lady Gaga, Lady Gaga, ga, Lady Gaga, Lady Gaga, ga. And there's my lunch. Lady Gaga, Lady Gaga, ga. And the d, the l, d, g are all helping your tongue to be really agile, to be precise, but you're doing it in such a way as to not cause any constriction at the level of the larynx. Lady Gaga, Lady Gaga, ga. And there is a video, again, you can jump across to the video tabs on the channel and look for Lady Gaga singing exercise, and there's a video about that. One more question before we finish for today. Who are we going to be able to give it to? I'm going to give this one to Nai. How do you sing with more feeling? This one here. How do we sing with more feeling without sounding fake and contrived? What an excellent question, Nai. Do you know what? One of the key ways to sing with, I guess, the question you're asking is authenticity, is firstly to be able to connect with your repertoire. The moment you're singing something that you have no sense of connection with, it's kind of a lost thing. Now, this is different for, our vocational singers compared to our avocational singers. We talked about our definitions here, but a few live hangouts ago about amateur and professional. If you're a person that earns money from your singing, say you're a gigger, then often you're being paid to be able to, create the connection, whether you feel it or not. And you've got to still be able to do that in an authentic way. But if you are an avocational singer, someone who's not drawing your primary income from your vocals, then start out by finding songs that you really resonate with. And one way you can do that, it's only one way, but one way you can do that is by being conscious of, okay, when I'm listening to certain songs on the radio, a new song comes on, do I feel any emotional response to that song? Those songs, and there are certainly those songs where you'll be driving along in your car and before you know it, you're weeping. Why are you weeping? Well, maybe there's something in that song. For example, that Kelly Clarkson song that was recently came out where she, in fact, was crying on stage. She was performing it at a TV talent show. I'm trying to remember what the name of it is. And it's about her father leaving and the fact that she's not going to leave her child and these sorts of things. Wow, I responded emotionally to that song. It's a song that I think if I chose to sing it, I would feel a connection with it as I sang it. So go looking for those songs that you feel you will have a connection with, and that's certainly a good place to start. And that certainly then you've got to account for other things. Are you able to sing the range of the song? Is it a guy or a girl song? And sometimes that doesn't matter. I've sung many female songs that I was able to rework and massage into being applicable for my gender to sing. So hopefully that gives you some place to start, Nai, and what a great question for us to finish on. Again, we do these live hangouts every Monday afternoon, Australian Eastern Standard Time at 2 p.m. Please subscribe, hit the bell icon if you've enjoyed today, because that way, if you hit the bell icon, once you've subscribed, you'll always be notified by the YouTube systems, the algorithms that let people know, send out a notification. And don't forget, we also do videos every Wednesday and Friday. They're both pre-recorded, but there's plenty of good stuff. And this week, we are going to be talking about inhalare la voce. Now, I don't say that word very well because I don't use the term very often, but we're going to be talking about it. It's an Italian term, won't give any more away. That's on Wednesday. And then we're going to be talking about a little bit of a habit on Friday, a habit that many of you still are challenged by, and that is clearing the throat. They're the subjects that are coming up. I hope you'll dive in and engage with those videos and share them. But as always, look, I love hanging out with you guys. Let me just get rid of this. I love hanging out with you guys because here at Voice Essentials, we are such an awesome community together. I learn so much from you, as I hope you learn some things from me. And but look, I hope to see you next week. And if I don't, that's cool. If I do, have a great week. Enjoy your singing. And as always, I'm Dr. Dan. Sing well.